Good morning and welcome to the Christian Indie Writers Podcast, where we inform, encourage, and support Christian indie authors on their journey toward publication. I'm Jennifer Carl Tong, and I write historical Christian romance.
I'm Christina Cahn, and I write in multiple genres, including Christian dystopian fiction.
I'm Jamie Hirschberger.
Somebody is playing this in the background.
I hope it's not me, because it's not on purpose. If it's me, I can't hear it.
I can.
Okay. I'm Jamie Hirschberger. I write short fiction under the pen name J.R.R. Nichols.
I'm Rhonda Hagerman, and I write fiction and nonfiction.
This is a nightmare.
No, it's not. This is great. This is fodder.
Yeah. How does it sound to the chat? Is it okay? Like, I don't hear it. I don't know what you're hearing, Jen. Do you guys hear it?
Sorry, it was me on my end.
Oh, great. I'm so glad. No, that's good news. Hooray!
At least it wasn't me.
Yes, or me. I've been having so many I am the cause of the technical difficulties today. So hopefully my internet will hold out. Thanks for your patience, everybody.
You're welcome.
Did everybody get a chance to go? I'm really sorry.
Yes, we all went. So yeah.
Okay. So yes, I had first because I had copied the link. It was open in another window, and I always close it out. And today I didn't, because it's, as you can see, I'm in a different spot. Everything is a little bit different for me, but. Thanks for tuning in with us today and for listening live. A great big thank you for all of our live chatters that are always here every week with us. I know we have a couple of new ones at least, and I want to point that out in a second here. But if you are one of our listeners that listen to us after the fact, like through iHeartRadio, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, I guess it's called now, and all the other places you can find us, we appreciate you as well. And we appreciate you liking and subscribing to our podcast. That helps others to find us, and it helps you to never miss another episode of the Christian Indie Writers Podcast. We like to start each one of our episodes with a segment that we call our What's Up. It is where we share what's going on with our lives, what has happened in the last week since you've seen us. And I'm going to start, since Miss Christina Cahn is over here. I'm going to start with you, Tina.
I'm so proud of you for getting the right direction the first time.
Me too.
I always go the wrong way. Like I always go the other way.
I was pure
okay.
love.
Well, we live in Michigan, 3 of us, and we are on stay home, stay safe. That's what the governor's calling it, where we have to stay home, and so. Pretty much my life has not changed at all.
The What's Up segment this week is 30 seconds long.
I have to stay home. I was staying home before that. We are missing our co-op group and, going to youth group and that kind of stuff. But just, plugging away, trying to stay healthy.
All right, Rhonda, how about you?
Well, yes, I'm also on lockdown. It's really been a vacation for me. I've been enjoying this. Our river behind us is thawed. So
nice.
I've been spending a lot of time looking at that. And let's see. The other thing is probably Salvation Army better look out when we get to go back outside, because I'm going to have a few truckloads to bring to them.
Yeah, same here.
Ooh, yeah.
Same here.
And I'd like to know how Piper Dow is so good at organizing her snacks, because mine were gone like almost right away, like the first day, and she still has snacks to binge on. So she's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. I have lots of kids at home, and so I'm gonna go ahead and do mine next, so that I'm not talky. But we have, I went out and got 4 weeks worth of food, which is not abnormal for me. I used to do freezer food, freezer cooking, so that I had a whole month's worth of food. So it wasn't completely abnormal, but we kind of had a heads up, an inkling that they were going to close our state down too, because we were a day behind New York and Ohio, and they were closing down. So we did that. And so my kids have been pretty good, because I kind of don't have room in the cupboard. So it's kind of all laid out behind our couch, all organized. So we've been pretty good with that. But my What's Up for this week is that my 10-year-old is no longer a 10-year-old.
No.
She turned 11.
No.
And this poor kid, she's a kid. If anything is going to go wrong for her birthday, it's this poor kid. And here of all the times to have a birthday, when we're in lockdown. So she had all these plans. We had these plans to do this really, fun birthday things that she wanted to do. And we couldn't do any of it. So instead, it was a different kind of birthday. I always buy store-bought cakes because I think they taste yummy, and I'm not much of a baker. I can do it. I stay home, so I could, but I never have. And so, but this year we had to, and she and I spent the morning baking the cake, and it was a disaster. If you follow me on Instagram, you can go on over there and take a look at it.
I wouldn't say
bad.
disaster.
The
Come
baking
on.
I think it's adorable.
Okay, the baking part was a disaster. And then we made homemade buttercream frosting, which, I mean,
Aw.
even if we were sitting there with spoons, happy birthday to me, who cares, right?
Yeah, no
And
doubt.
we
Love
made a
buttercream.
double batch, and she, if you look
Mm.
at it, she did the decorating. Like, all that was all her, and it was awesome. And she like did piping, and she did like glitter stuff on it, and it just very much like my daughter. It was perfect. So we got to do that together, and she wanted burgers, which was great. We cooked on the grill. It's only like in the 50s here, but for me, that's warm enough for the grill. Like, let's just get the cooking out of the house if we can. And then she said to her dad, Daddy, can we have a campfire for my birthday? And my pyromaniac husband was like, yes, because we had come across it. I still had chocolate and graham crackers and marshmallows from last fall, so they were still good. So they did s'mores. And then the night before, the governor said people can't do fires in Michigan anymore. So we're like, whoo, we made it. So we had
Really?
yes. There's
I didn't hear that one.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's out there. So yeah. So even though like everything was, not what she expected, I think she had a good birthday, and we've had a lot of fun being together. But I'm just amazed at all these moms and dads that are like, I have so much time on my hands. I'm getting all these things done. And I'm like, how? Like, everyone's home and everything is like happening. It's like life as usual for me, but with like my son, my oldest son, or my college age son, and my husband. So it's like I just have more mouths to feed and more people to pick up after, and it's just crazy, but loving it. I love being with my family. So
I really love the cake. I thought it was like meant to be something right out of a Dr. Seuss book.
Wasn't meant to be, but it really could be.
Because it wasn't like perfectly round.
It was whimsical.
I loved it.
It's whimsical.
It was adorable.
Yes.
Yes. I will never be Martha Stewart in so many ways. I can cook.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm not going to
Please don't be. We need you to be Jennifer Tong.
I suspect that not even Martha Stewart is Martha Stewart.
Oh no, I saw it. She was interviewing someone once, and she was talking about he and his wife had chickens. This is a TV star or someone, I don't know who he was, and she was talking about how many chickens she has and maintains them. He's like, you don't maintain them, you hire somebody. And her face, like, she get all mad, but it was so true. She has people to take care of her chickens, so whatever.
I'm sure she has people to take care of her house and all that.
Oh yeah. Someday I'll be rich enough to no. Even if I am, I would, I would pay for someone to clean my house tomorrow.
But you're going to take care of your own chickens. That's what you're saying.
Yes. I don't have chickens, but I want chickens.
I'm going to have friends that have chickens, and then I'll just go buy the eggs from them.
Right.
Hey,
that's what I'm going to do.
I think it'd be a good economic lesson for my kids. That's what I keep telling my husband. And my husband's like, he's like thinking in his mind, he's like, one more thing to take care of. But all right, Jamie, you're last up. What's up, sweetheart?
Oh, I feel so sort of guilty that I've just been so happy. My husband is home and has been home since the last time we did the podcast. And so all of the things where it's like, if I only had one more day, he does not feel like that. So he's chilled out. I'm chilled out. The kids are chilled out. And we're just all, I don't know, enjoying our property. And this morning we were sitting out and having coffee together before the podcast, and I could not believe the variety of bird song that I was hearing, and just such a wonderful experience to just kind of relax. It's like a forced Sabbath is kind of how we're looking at it. Like God is just forcing everybody to chill out and focus and remember what's important, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, that's how we've been seeing it. So we're sort of treating it like a retreat, I guess, a family retreat. And it's kept us in a positive frame of mind, because we just decided if we hear something happy, we're going to believe that, because we're just not going to be afraid if it's at all possible. So I'm just really enjoying this, which is, it feels like an indulgence to me. I want to say Sage, by the way, Rhonda, Sage loves the title of the podcast today. And that was Rhonda's.
That was Rhonda.
We all were really impressed.
I cannot take credit for it.
Where you found it, like online or something?
Yeah, I don't remember right at the moment, but yeah.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
And then also it's interesting how toilet paper is called toilet roll wherever Maria Johnson lives. Toilet roll. That's interesting.
In England.
No.
Yeah.
No, actually, the funny thing in the chat, Piper says she's from Massachusetts, which I just visited the first time last summer. And Maria said she's from the UK, but nowhere near London. That's hilarious.
Yes. I live in Florida, but not by Disney, so I get it.
Right.
You are really close.
Maria, Maria, you will be interested. Well, maybe not interested in this, but the homeschooling curriculum that I use, we are doing. It's called. We're studying Europe, and we do the UK today. When my
Ooh,
kids,
you can tell them they call it toilet roll.
I will. I'm going to share that. You can see that I'm not in my normal space. This is actually at my aunt's house, the one that we are gutting and we're fixing up. And you can see the toys behind me because my kids are here all the time with me. So no, that's me. That's just my new office. I like to play when I'm not. Oh, hello, Esther. Hi, John. Hi.
That's where she keeps her voodoo dolls that have red hair.
Do you make your dolls kiss?
And curly black hair. Yes, of course she does. She has romance, right? Like the boy comes over and knocks on the door.
I played with Barbies till I was way too old. We played with Barbies. I for sure did.
Sweet. It's sweet.
I know.
I never played with Barbies.
I used to stuff the Barbies into the cabs of my brother's Tonka trucks, and then we would have demolition derbies.
We used to reenact plot lines from Dynasty and Dallas with our Barbies. We'd be like smacking each other with like the posable hands and tearing each other's hair and stuff like that. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Isn't it crazy the things that our parents let us watch with them? Like the things like I watched those shows. I watched soap operas with our babysitter during the day. Like I would never let my kids watch these things. It is nuts.
Mm-hmm.
So all right, I have not been paying attention to the chat, and there is so much going on over there, and I am really sorry, you guys.
Our chat. I'm so jealous of it, but I have to be here with my eyeballs looking at y'all. So,
but Barbie says she's in Michigan, nowhere from anywhere.
Yeah, she literally is, because if you look at the map of where COVID is in Michigan, like there's a 4 or 5 county chunk right in their section of Michigan where there's no COVID even.
Ooh, she has a cloud of protection.
Yes. So far that even COVID can't find them.
Wow. Awesome.
I do want to give a shout out to Piper. Piper, I believe this is your first time chatting with us because I think that you messaged us saying that you want to know the exact time and you were going to set your alarm. And I responded, yeah, I'm setting my alarm too because I don't want to. She's like, I don't want to miss it. I'm like, I don't either.
Oh, no. And then we were late. So then maybe she thought she had the wrong time for 3 minutes because of my technical issues. Like I've been there.
Yeah, right.
Well, that was Shell who wondered about that?
No, Piper Dow.
Shell, Days of Our Lives.
Piper says yes, exclamation point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Days of Our Lives. Yes,
yeah.
Shell. In college, too. I spent a lot of time watching soap operas in college. I guess probably why.
That wild Marlena plotline where she was possessed for a while was really interesting, wasn't
I don't remember
it?
that.
You don't remember? I need to go look that up somewhere. Interesting.
My mom used to tape them on like those big, were they Betamax?
Yeah.
And
you went Beta? Oh, I'm sorry.
And then she would watch them at night. Like she would put this little tape in there and she could fast forward the commercials.
Yeah, my mom did that probably until just a few years ago, to be honest. So, all right. Well, that's lots of chatting. We need to probably move on into the topic. And we did love the title of this topic, thanks to Miss Rhonda Hagerman. And we are talking today about allegory. First of all, what is allegory? Who wants to give that question a shout out?
Well, I won't, because I realized after I finished writing my sprint that I do not think I wrote an allegory at all. I think I just retold the story and but it was finished. I was done with it. And then I went, oh, I blew it. 3, 2, 1. I totally just did not write allegory.
Wasn't that but that's the purpose of a sprint, right? It's just to inspire you. Like,
oh, sure.
It's not to force you into something, but what is an allegory?
Can I say that?
Yes, please.
Okay. The Google definition, which we all know, Google never lies. An allegory is a story, a poem, or a picture that can be interpreted to reveal a hidden meaning, typically a moral or political one. And it gives Pilgrim's Progress as an example of an allegory. But can I tell you what J.R.R. Tolkien, I know we'll be talking about him later, but this is his quote about allegories. I cordially dislike allegory in all its manifestations, and always have done so since I grew old and wary enough to detect its presence. I much prefer history, true or feigned, with its varied applicability to the thought and experience of readers. I think that many confuse applicability with allegory, but the one resides in the freedom of the reader, and the other in the purpose domination of the author.
Oh, I get it. So in other words, if your art becomes allegory once it has left your possession, that is not of you. But if you write with the intention of allegory, Tolkien's going to take up arms and come at you. Is that what he's saying, basically?
I believe so.
Yeah, because
I know we're going to talk about him later, but apparently, from what I've been reading this week, he was not a fan of people who said he was writing allegories, because he said that was never his intention. But then he kind of flip-flopped too. But we can get into that later.
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I love the little I guess video that you shared to our Facebook page. It's like a text message conversation between C.S. Lewis and Tolkien. So if you haven't seen anyone who's in chat or listening to this, head over to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Christian Indie Writers, and take a look at it. It's really funny and made us all giggle this morning. So that was really good. Okay. So let's talk about how we use allegory. So we know what allegory is now. We are familiar with it through famous authors, like we said, Tolkien, C.S. Lewis, even some contemporary authors. We know that Francine Rivers has used it specifically in her novel, Redeeming Love. How do any of you guys use allegory in your writing?
I do. And it's very subtle, though. So I wouldn't say that my whole book is an allegory, but there are elements of it that are allegorical. So one of them that I'm doing is my first book is set in the spring, in the season of spring. And that is the story of Angelica finding faith and new life and salvation. So I feel like the season that I set it in symbolized the journey that she's on. And I'm going to do the same thing with the next book in the series, which is going to be set in the dead of winter. And it's also going to kind of match what Angelica's going through at that time spiritually.
And so when you say you use allegory too, are there certain like biblical stories or that like are mirrored in your writing?
Can I contribute something, Tina?
Sure.
I would like you to talk about that eagle that you have in your book. Is that an allegory at all?
Well, I guess maybe I'm like C.S. Lewis, because when I was writing it, I never intended it to be allegorical. And I didn't even realize that I had set it in spring and then it symbolized new life until I was done writing the rough draft. So I didn't do it on purpose. And so possibly the eagle is representative of maybe the Holy Spirit guiding us. I also have them having rebuilt the tabernacle in the future in the Alaskan wilderness. And so there's some symbolism there that carries over.
So it's accidental allegory, which is interesting because that was going to be my answer is, yeah, I do allegory by accident. Although I thought I might have fun taking a crack at doing allegory. And then, the timer turned on and I was just like, I don't know, I just wrote whatever I wrote. But to try to sit down and do like a Pilgrim's Progress kind of thing where this stands for that and that stands for that would feel a little constrictive to me, I believe, because I also am not a big one for preachy kind of books, and I would feel like I'm trying to trick everybody, and it would feel weird. Like it would stifle me, I think, if I said, okay, now this lion is Jesus, like Lewis did, or whatever. I would feel very bound to be careful. Does that make sense? Especially if you're dealing with things that are spiritual. So I accidentally use allegory in my writing. What about you, Rhonda?
Have all of you guys read Pilgrim's Progress?
Mm-hmm.
I've tried. I
tried too, but
no.
Well, I think one of the reasons I like allegory is because when I was in third grade, I went to a Christian school, and we read like a third grade version of Pilgrim's Progress throughout the whole school year. And
that's what I need. I need the third grade version.
Me too.
Well, yeah. I have a copy of it, so I'll give it to your daughter if you want. So there you go.
We'll do it for homeschooling, not for me personally, of course.
I think there's a movie now too. So
yeah. Sorry, Rhonda,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
hijacking. I didn't mean
Oh,
to.
no, that's fine. That's fine. But anyway, I was talking to my mom about this yesterday, and she also likes Pilgrim's Progress. And she said her favorite allegory in the whole thing is where he finally comes and rests on the rock. And of course, the rock is Jesus. But he still has his knapsack of all of his own special boulders, which is his fear and his worry and his, everything. So even though he's resting on the rock, he's still holding on to that bag. And that actually is giving me goosebumps right now. Is such a picture. And that's why I love allegory, because it frames things in a way that you're familiar with to learn concepts that maybe you're not so familiar with.
And I suppose I would have had an easier time with Pilgrim's Progress, but it just was very like the names of everybody, and the parts that were really blatant, and then the subtle parts were really subtle, and I was just annoyed by it in general.
Well, the thing about that too is when he wrote that book, in New England, all the Puritans, they named their children Innocence and Faithfulness.
Oh, really?
Yeah. In fact, I have one relative called Wealthy. I thought that was the strangest.
Wealthy?
Yeah, but they would name their children with attributes.
I'm putting that on my Corona baby name list. Wealthy.
Yeah, as long as it's not Corona.
Shell says audiobook it. It's so good. That's actually a really good idea, because I could be listening to other things. So.
I think they just got done making a animated movie that's like modern animation versus the animation they had in the 70s.
Can't we just do a StreamYard where Rhonda just tells us the story so none of us have to read it?
Yes,
that's gonna happen.
Sorry, go ahead, Tina. What's up?
My favorite part of the Pilgrim's Progress is when he's at the foot of the cross and he puts his knapsack. He drops it and it rolls down the hill. And so every time I hear that song at the cross where I first saw the light,
I love that song.
And the burden of my sin rolled away.
Yeah.
I always see his knapsack like rolling down the hill.
Nice. See? That worked for you then. See, that's what it was supposed to do. Yeah.
Piper Dow says, I did the prompt, but didn't realize I should aim to have it as an allegory. Well, here's the thing. If you did the prompt, which was rewrite a Bible story, then it is an allegory, because the Bible stories all have the element, like what you're doing is you're rewriting a moral story. You're rewriting. And for us as Christian writers, when we say allegory, we really mean biblical stories. I know that there will be other authors out there that will do allegory that they don't want to, kind of rewrite the story of Jesus or like that. But in essence, most allegory, I would say, is based on Jesus's life, if not the Bible. Would you guys agree with that?
Well, I would sort of agree with that, and I would add that. I might as well. Like, I had this talking point kind of on the outline. It seems like it fits in well here, so I'm going to just say, I think it's really fun to try to find allegory where it wasn't intended, because it's an optimistic and positive thing to do. So, like, pick any media and listen for the message of the love between a father and a son, or between a mother and a child, the overreaching love that humans have for one another. I mean, any song that is about love, if you really wanted to, you could find allegory in there that talks about the love that the Father has for his creation. And it's so beautiful to just do that. I used to be annoyed by people who could always find the allegory in the movie and everything. But I'm like, why would I not be that person and just find that and believe for myself that God is doing something through the art that I consume? So I've decided to change my mind about allegory and intentionally look for it so it can edify me and my children and my husband.
My son used to do that when he was little. We would go to the movies and we'd go to a Disney movie or whatever movie we were going to. And he was 5 or 6. And on the drive home, he would explain to us how that movie talked about God, like where to find God in the movie. It was really cute. I was sure he was going to be a preacher when he grew up.
Because we go ahead, Rhonda.
I was just going to say, if I could add something to what you were saying, Jennifer, about allegory, is you need to have symbolism in it, because if you just replace this person's situation with the same situation in another person, that's just retelling the story.
Yeah.
But allegory, so like in Pilgrim's Progress, his knapsack of boulders, those are his burdens. So
Oh,
yeah, that's one way to do allegory. But like
Mhm.
C.S. Lewis he retold a story from a different perspective, and there is symbolism, but the symbolism is the way that he's retelling the story, right? Like so I think there's different ways of doing it. Like, and which I'm glad that you said that, because I think we need to probably move into that, because
think so.
we can look for it in other ways, and you can say, and because I do believe we are created by our holy creator, and that because of that there is something in us, even if we reject that holy creator, there is something within us that yearns for our God, whether we want to acknowledge that or not. I have unsaved family members, and that's what I pray to. I pray that part of their being that knows that it was made, what even subconsciously knows who the creator is, that it just like is so loud that the person that I love can't hear anything else but that, is what I feel. So even when the people that like Rhonda or Jamie was saying, that write love songs or write stories about love, or that don't think that they're writing allegory, I think that it's because we are created by such a God that is so loving. I think that it can come out that way. But I do think that you can write, like you can make plans to write allegory. Would you guys agree with that? Like, that's not a dead art. It is something that can be done.
Sure. And I just would like to say that I think that's what's missing in my piece and why it does not feel like allegory to me. So it'll be interesting when we share if you guys are like, yeah, like I see why you didn't really feel like this was allegory, because it just does feel like a retelling. And I can't put my finger on why it feels like I missed. Does that make sense? So I think this is going to be fun, because now we have a how not to do it.
Maria says, I read an article once about every story has elements of the true story. So there are Christian themes in a lot of stories when it isn't even intentional. That's worded way better than what I did. That's exactly kind of what I was saying. Thank you, Maria. I agree with that.
Well, I mean, we're created beings creating. So, I mean, the fingerprint of the creator is going to be on what we do. Can't help it.
Agreed. So I use allegory in a very, I thought it was, it is intentional in my books, but I thought it was like kind of very slight. But after listening to you ladies, maybe it's more overt than what I expected, but not so much in my first book. Because if you remember my story, my very first book is a prequel that I didn't think about at the beginning. It just kind of happened out of a writing prompt that we did. But the sisters in my series, I chose their names specifically because each one of them, their story in the Bible, either it has what their name means or what their story is, has significance in my book, but I don't retell their story. So like, for example, in book 2 with Esther, I'm not retelling the story of Queen Esther, but there are scenes and there are parts of my book that are straight up Queen Esther kind of channeled through my Esther. Same thing with Phoebe, and same thing. So Phoebe, even though she's a very small, like one sentence in the New Testament, there's a lot that is said in that one sentence. And I want my character to be a pastor. And then same thing with Sarah. That comes up kind of more at the end of the book. You realize why her name was significant. Because I do believe, just like in the Old Testament, that names had power in the Old Testament. And so when I named my children, I kind of took that into consideration too, is that I wanted to choose names that I felt would have power for God to work through them in that way. So
I think a lot of my names are very similar to that too, because my main character is Angelica. Which, that's obvious, right? Her love interest is called Petra, which is just the Greek word for Peter. And it means rock. And so her father's name is Levi, and he's the high priest. So I chose
do their names do those names affect the way you write the character as well, like they did for me?
Yeah. Yep, they do.
So that's one way a person could do it. So if you're looking at your writing and wondering how you can put some allegory in it, or if you want a new story idea, do something as simple as that. Choose a Bible character that you really gel with or that you like. I love the character Rahab. She's one of my favorite female characters in the Bible, but it's a terrible name. So I don't know that I would ever find a way of using it. But maybe I'd find a name close to that. But then try writing the character with personality traits. like that biblical figure. It doesn't have to be their story. It doesn't have to retell anything, but just take it and put some of those personality traits in that character and just start out that way. I mean, that's a little way of starting to add allegory.
Yeah, why not? I mean, you could call her Ray or something like that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've heard of female characters called Ray.
You can call me Ray. You can call me Jay. Okay, sorry. I've just dated myself very plainly. Rhonda's shaking her head. Oh.
Piper says, I have a hard time naming people in my stories. I look around the room and try to come up with something. Me too.
That's why my character is called Probiotic in chapter 32. No, just kidding.
There are websites and that you can look up, and I don't have it off the top of my head, the one I use, but there's like character naming websites, baby naming websites. Like you can go in and you can put the year they were born or about the time period they were born, male, female, where they originate from, and it gives you names. I'll give you a list. I use that kind of stuff all the time.
Here's a secret trick that I use. I just write a conversation with that person and someone else, and eventually they're going to want to use their name, and it just comes flying out. It just happens. It's weird. So give it a try.
I actually looked up what do you call it? I guess a name generator that gave me names of Alaskan natives.
Ooh.
Awesome. Barbie says, mine, I think she means her name, means strange or foreign.
Oh, no.
I think I know which
Hence
one of
the
two
cloud, the Corona protection cloud.
what is
She is got her alien abilities protecting her.
I wonder what my name means. We should look up. Someone should look up all of our names. And
Jennifer, I think your name means
know what mine
waterfall
means.
because I have a niece named Jennifer, and I think I looked it up. I think I could be wrong. Sorry, Jennifer, my niece, if that's wrong. I thought that was what your name meant. Anyway,
mine means Christian.
Ooh. Oh, well, that's obvious. Like kind of like
Yeah.
Angelica, right? Oh,
Yeah.
Jennifer is of Welsh origin, and with one N, it means fair and smooth. It's a version of Guinevere. Ooh, Guinevere is a great name. Anybody who needs a name, Guinevere. What a great name.
Robin, you beat Robin to it. She just said Jennifer means fair and smooth. Wow.
I am going to. Okay, that is the number one name on my
ever.
Corona baby list. Especially if it's a boy. No, just kidding.
I don't know that smooth has ever been used to define me.
Your skin. We talk about how you're Snow White all the time, don't we?
That's Rhonda's nickname for me.
Yeah, beautiful hair, ruby red lips. Yeah, Welsh. Yeah.
I didn't go with ruby red today.
I know what my name means, Robin, because I always felt kind of bad that I was named after that sneaky guy who stole the birthright and made the good porridge and an earth stew or whatever. Like, yes, really? I would look him up. I looked him up and read all about that sneaky dude.
I get points for Welshness. Thanks. Appreciate that. Robin says Jamie is a girl's name of Hebrew, Scottish origin, meaning supplanter.
Mm-hmm.
Sage said, whoops, where are we here? It's because it's going so fast.
I know, you guys are just fingers on fire.
Sage says, I chose my own name just a little while before I turned 30. Before that, I had a name that did not suit me.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever feel like that? Growing up, I felt like Jenny did not suit me because there was about 100 Jennies in my school. And I just felt like it did not, and then I got to college and people started calling me Jen. And then it was like, yeah, that actually does sound right. And now I don't care. I think it was just part of growing up. But
did we mention that Rhonda means good spear?
Good spear.
Like she's gonna poke some people. Like,
wow, I am bringing Rhonda with me on all my adventures.
Robin says that it means of shining fame.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
No, that's what Robin means. Sorry, Rhonda.
Robin. I thought I said Robin. I can see that, Robin. Sorry, I was reading that wrong. See, I'm trying to get too many things in here. Christina is a girl's name of Greek origin, meaning a Christian. Well, that makes sense.
You know, that would be fun to do with your kids. If you got your kids at home, you have nothing else to do one day, tell them why you named them what you did. I mean, we went through that with our kids this week. Just because.
I'll write it down.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Maria Johnson, author, says, my real name is a female derivative of Jonathan, which means God is gracious. So
wonderful.
My daughter's name is similar to yours, your real first name. But her name is Joelle, my oldest daughter. And when we were arguing over names, which is funny because I was telling the ladies this story about my second daughter, but my husband and I could not come up with a name. And I loved the name Joelle. I had a friend in college named Joelle. I wanted Joelle. And I was like about ready to pop. And I'm in the grocery store and I picked up a baby book. Like when you're waiting and they have the little books. And I looked up and it was in there. and it said, God is willing. And we had not planned to get pregnant that quick into the marriage at all. We actually were trying not to. And God had other plans. And so when I showed my husband that, he's like, her name is Joelle. And so
Aw.
I
so
love that name.
yeah, thanks.
My brother's name is Joel, and I always thought that he should have a daughter named Joelle.
Yeah, I love it.
Of course, you said the name Joel, and suddenly, Uptown Girl. Anyway, sorry.
Jamie has been singing all morning.
I can't help it.
Again, if you follow us on Instagram, you'll have seen my live this morning, and you only hear me because you can't, because I have headphones on, and she's in my head singing as I'm trying to do a Facebook Live, and it was awesome.
I thought she was done. I mean, I was pretending to sing in the beginning, and then I thought she was done. And then I did really sing. I was glad you guys couldn't hear. Sorry.
No, whatever. Jamie has a beautiful voice. So, all right. Were there any other questions in? Shell says her son's name is Finnegan, which means fair.
Oh, I like that.
I like that too. Call him Finn. Love it. Maria says Joelle's a lovely name. Thank you. She's a lovely girl as well. Okay. Any other comments or we have any questions in the chat about Allegory?
No question.
Did anyone comment whether or not they use Allegory right now in their writing?
I did not see anything like that, but then I am very bad at keeping track of the chat.
Today I've been very bad about it. So
it goes so fast. I'm wondering if we're going to be able to keep up with it.
Well, sorry everybody. If you had an Allegory nugget that our readers would probably appreciate, if you write Allegory, you can reach out on our Twitter and stuff. Yeah, we want to know. We want to see your sprints and all that stuff.
And we appreciate the super fans that we have that are here every single week and how you all keep chatting with each other too, because then as new people come in and we are not able to do both this and all of that at the same time, and you guys are keeping it going, it's a great community and we love you guys so much. Appreciate it so much.
We're always so good at noticing when new people join. Like, it's just really nice. I love it.
Maria says, I don't use Allegory, but I do mention Christian themes in my writing. So that's a form of allegory, right? Oh, good grief. I'm telling you, it's going so fast I'm clicking the wrong things. But Shell says, my nano from 2 years ago is an allegory of the prodigal son, but I stalled in the muddy middle. Sigh. We've all been there.
Like literally, the guy was in the pigsty. No, just kidding.
All right. Well, let's move on to our next section, which we like to call our feeding of the backs. For those of you that tune in regularly, I'm going to stop saying that word. Often, those of you that tune in often will know that every week we post a sprint prompt for ourselves, because we do this as well, and for everyone else. We spend 15 minutes writing on a specific prompt, and then we, the four of us, share ours at the end of the podcast. If you did the prompt, we would love for you to go ahead and tweet that to us, or you could share it on our Facebook page as well. If you haven't done it yet, please go ahead and do it. It's a lot of fun, and it's a great way to get some support from other Christian indie writers. Tag us in it. Make sure you do the @ and then our tag, depending on which social media platform that you are on. And then go out there and look for it. If we need to start using the hashtag Write for Christ. If you use that way, other Christian indies can search that hashtag and find everyone's stuff, and we can give out some love, because we all know there's a lot of negativity on social media. There is a lot of trolls out there. We would love for you to be able to share with each other and encourage each other and love on each other.
Yeah, so and I just want to ask a really noob sort of a question. It doesn't matter if you use capitals or anything, does it? So if you did a hashtag Write for Christ, it wouldn't matter if you capitalized the C or anything. Okay, because I know noobs probably like me. I'm asking for myself, okay? And anyone else who
just so it's easier to read it for me.
Okay. All right. So when people do a hashtag, they can capitalize, but it'll count just like they didn't capitalize. Is that what you're saying? Or will it like switch to not capital when you click the enter button? Do you understand my question?
Right. I do understand your question. It will not switch it, but it will tag it with the rest of them. It's totally fine.
Super. That's great. I love accommodating programmers.
I'm going to put the hashtag in the chat right now so everybody can see it and can hopefully use it. But then we can all go searching for each other's stuff and share it.
All right. And since we're talking about hashtags, let's take a moment and applaud Jennifer Tong for all the wonderful social media work she's been doing lately. Yay! If you've noticed that we are more on the ball with our social media, you can thank Jennifer for it, because she has been really getting it all systematized to make it easy for herself, but it is still work. So we just wanted to publicly acknowledge that.
Appreciate that. I am trying. Everybody is doing their part for this podcast. It's just not all me, but I do appreciate that. And we love it. If you guys would like and share what we do, that helps us too, because we know that there's a whole lot more people like us out there. There are other Christian writers that feel like they're in this whole, like on an island all by themselves, not just because we're isolating right now, but they feel like there's no one else out there that they have community with, because sometimes when you're a Christian writer, you have Christians around you, but they're not writers, or you might have writers around you, but they're not Christians, like people that really understand where you're at. And we want to reach out to those people to bring them into this community so that they know they're not alone. So please like, share, subscribe, everything you can to help us to get the word out there. All right. So it is time for the feeding of the backs, and she always picks on me. So I'm going to pick on her to go first. And that is Miss J.R.R. Nichols. Jamie.
You know, I thought I was going to get overlooked because I resisted the urge to sing You Are Not Alone by Michael Jackson. And I thought that was good enough brownie points for me to not be picked on first, but I guess not.
No.
Okay, so here comes my not really an allegory, I think.
You got to read the sprint first.
Oh, no. Dude, I think you need to go to someone else because remember I had to restart. My document is not here. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, okay. Then we'll go with
sorry.
Tina. Tina, how about you go first and you tell us what the sprint prompt was, please, and then share your sprint.
So the sprint prompt was to write an allegory based on a Bible story. And my Bible story was already an allegory.
Oh, tricky.
Because it was a parable. So
so don't tell us and we'll see if we can figure it out.
Yeah, good idea.
You would have to be biblically illiterate not to figure it
out.
out.
All right, well, try me.
Okay.
Or that, you never know. Not on my second cup of coffee.
I know, right?
This is just for the first.
The boss sat at a glass table next to the pool, a drink in his hand and a laptop in front of him. Jimmy approached slowly, as if it would somehow delay the inevitable. The two muscly goons who had escorted him here stopped by the sliding doors, leaving Jimmy to make his way across the deck by himself. His legs were rubbery and his stomach kept trying to jump into his throat, but somehow he made it without falling or puking. The boss looked up at him, squinting slightly against the sun, or was that his menacing look? Jimmy wasn't sure. The boss stretched his legs out, his ridiculously tan feet sticking out from the cuffs of his white linen pants. Jimmy wanted to tell him the Don Johnson look went out in the 80s, but knew better and kept his mouth shut. You owe me a lot of money, Jimmy, the boss said. Jimmy was normally a proud man, but the events of the last couple of weeks had beaten it out of him. He sank into a chair and hung his head. A tear escaped his eye and dropped onto the deck. Nothing surprised him anymore, so he shrugged and in a quivering voice said, I'm sorry, things got away from me, my little boy. A sob choked off the rest of his words. I heard about your son. I am very sorry and I want to help you. Jimmy looked up in surprise, searching the boss's face, trying to read the warmth in his eyes and the smile on his face. I'm going to forgive this debt. You go be at the hospital with your son and don't worry about this matter anymore. Tears were flowing freely now. Jimmy jumped up and pumped the boss's hand. Thank you so much, sir. I don't know how I'll ever thank you. The boss whacked him on the back and sent Jimmy on his way. It was amazing how much lighter Jimmy felt as he drove away from the boss's big house. He felt like celebrating. He made his way over to his own side of town to the Pelican Tavern, his usual watering hole. He ordered a drink and turned to look around the room, elbows on the bar. A weaselly-looking little man sat at a corner table, and when he saw Jimmy, he tried to scamper out of the booth he was in, but Jimmy got there before he could. Listen, you little punk, sneered Jimmy. You owe me $50, and I want it now. 3, 2, 1.
Very good.
Very good.
Yeah. I did not know till the end, and then I knew.
Mm-hmm. I figured when you said the boss, I thought for sure it was God. Like, so I'm like, okay, so I don't want to be illiterate, so pay attention. No, that was really.
But in the actual Bible parable, the king is representative of God.
Yes, exactly.
So you're not that far off.
So you did an allegory of an allegory. It's like looking at yourself in a mirror, and there's a mirror behind you, and it's mirrors forever.
So we could probably simplify allegory for us to say that parables are all allegories. Mm-hmm. So if you write a parable, then that would be, so that might just be another way of like wrapping your mind around a parable. So interesting. All right. Good job, Tina. Thank you very much.
Very good, Tina. Really good descriptive elements.
Thanks.
All right, James, are you ready now?
Finally. Sorry, y'all. Here we go. Silence, like a shroud, covered the village. Marisol crept from her hiding place and peered through the blind, trying to look beyond the grim display the sun had shown her in all its radiant glory earlier that day. Ma in her rocker, taken blissfully unaware by an early ricochet, and Papa struck down before he could aim his rifle to avenge Ma, draped over the porch rail like one of the drunks he used to visit on Sunday afternoons, bearing a dish towel covered plate full of potluck. He'd come bursting into the house from the back door as that first billet sent Ma home to glory, commanding Marisol to get to the safe space, which she'd dutifully done. She'd silently prayed, though God only knew how many hours, as the sounds of war raged on in the nearby valley. How has it gotten so bad, she wondered. The uprising had been mostly contained to the city and the valley between it and her village. No one had expected any disturbance to their peace. God protect me, she now prayed aloud over and again as she paced the floor and considered what her next step should be. She was heading for the desk where Pa kept his important papers when her front door exploded inward. She shrieked in surprise. Hello. The man's voice was thick and phlegmy, as though he had not spoken to another soul that day. He circled the room like a shark, examining its contents before pressing himself uncomfortably close to the shrinking Marisol. God give me strength, she silently prayed. I am Captain Shalaza. I will be commandeering your home. He tipped her chin upward with two long, bony fingers. And its contents. Marisol swallowed hard. She was young, but not too young to understand the consequences for young ladies possessed by the enemy. Almost without thinking, her hand flashed out and snatched Pa's letter opener. With a movement faster than a chicken on Sunday morning, she swung her hand up in a wide arc. The tip of the opener made contact with the captain's right eye. Marisol did not have time to scream. She gathered Papa's papers and ran out into the night.
Oh, wow. Oh my God. The queen of words.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, I was like, no, don't stop there. Like, I don't want her to be left in this house with him. And then when she grabbed so good. I'm so glad she heard him.
Do you know what story it is? It's not a case of it's not a case of you being biblical literate if you don't know it, because it's a pretty obscure one. But it was brought to mind because there's a beautiful girl in my daughter's choir class. Her name is Jael, Jael. And when the enemies of the Lord took over her village and the captain went to sleep in her tent, she picked up a tent peg and put it right through his skull.
Yep.
I do not know that reference, but that is so good. I want to go read that now.
It's a great story. It's like a blip, like you said in the Bible. It's like a little paragraph and it just kicks butt. You're like, these women were no joke. They were not like, you think because they were submissive that they were like docile, but they were like warriors. It's really interesting. So anyway, I just wanted to retell that story. Was it allegory? I mean, I don't even know.
Yeah, because we don't know the story and like, you're not, I mean, are you finished with it? Like, is it no,
I don't know.
Right.
You do not understand how long my to-do list.
No, I don't. Girl, I do.
I cannot. Poor Marisol is running into the night and she will be running forever, I guess. I don't know if I will ever return to her.
Right. There's lots of chat going on. Goosebumps. Gasp. That was so good.
Oh, thanks, guys.
I do from judges. Shell says from
judges.
Yay,
judges. Yay. Very good. Yeah.
Extra points for Shell. Robin says, oh yes, that one. So good. But there's one other comment that I for sure got to highlight. Kate says, looks for some sanitizer spray and cheers right before you started.
We joke that I should do ASMR for people.
Because you cleared your throat and you went,
yeah.
Hilarious. So.
It's all my germs. Yes,
that's so funny.
They're specific to me. Yes.
All right. I know that we don't want me to go last because of the talkie, but I also know that Rhonda doesn't like to go last all the time. So Rhonda, I will let you decide. Do you want to go next or last? Okay. All right. I will go next and we'll see if you guys can recognize this. I think you will be able to. Mary pushed the cart through the automatic door and entered the store. No greeter there to say welcome. Not at this time of night. Or was it morning? I guess it depends on who you were asking, Mary thought, as she picked up an avocado and put it into her cart. For someone in her line of work, her day was just ending. The rest of the world, the ones not shunned by society, they were probably hitting snooze or rolling over for one last hour of sleep before they slid out from their crisp sheets and onto a clean floor to face another glorious day. Mary just hoped her heat hadn't been shut off yet so she could get a couple hours of sleep on the couch before her kids woke up. The store was near empty, just like Mary liked it. Less people to look at, but more importantly, less people to look at her, less people to judge her. She made her way to the back of the store where the dairy was. The milk cooler was nearly empty, which wasn't a surprise. They didn't usually start stocking for another hour. She opened the door and stood on the tips of her toes to grab one of the last jugs. Could you hand me one of those as well? The voice was near, but she wasn't shocked by it. Nor was she shocked when she turned and found a man she didn't know standing directly behind her. She should have been shocked, since most people avoided her and kept their distance. Well, that is except for the men that paid for her services, but those men hid in the shadows of their cars or dark, dank motel rooms. But never had she been approached by a man in a well-lit store. She turned away. I'm done working for the day. Oh, you work here? The man asked. She snorted. No, of course not. Oh, sorry. I thought you were offended that I asked you to work when you were not on the clock. I was, she said under her breath. He must not have heard her because he continued. If you don't mind, I would appreciate you handing me a gallon of milk. She turned to the man with the kind brown eyes again and frowned. What did he want? She thought she knew. He wanted what every man wanted from her, what every man took from her, had taken from her entire life. But he didn't look like a bad guy. But neither did her grandfather, and he'd been the first to take from Mary before she could even spell her own name. Why are you talking to me? She said angrily, images of a much older brown-eyed man flashing through her memory. Should I holler for security? No, of course not. I didn't mean to frighten you. Where's your husband? He should be with you in this neighborhood at this time of night. Not that it's any of your business, but I don't have a husband. That's right, you don't. You've had many who have promised to love you over the years, but they only wanted to use you. And now you've decided that you might as well make money. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, what a nice ending. I know that seems weird to say, but it's just so nice because you know what's going to happen next. And you're so happy for her. Whatever. Okay, go ahead.
Right.
Anyone else? Really good writing, though, Jennifer, as far as understanding what's going on in her mind. I thought you were very in tune or something. I don't know how else to say it, but it was like you were really feeling her pain, and you could tell in your writing.
Yeah, and that's one of my favorite stories in the Bible about grace, and so that was very good.
Thanks.
Very recognizable.
This story has been on in my mind for a couple of weeks now. I don't know if I should even say this, but I'm gonna anyway. We had revival at our church recently, and the pastor, who is pretty famous in my denomination, I would say, was there. Great pastor, great sermons, but then he retold this story. He used this scripture, and then I felt like he shamed her. Like he said, she has decided to live a life like this, and she was a sex addict, and and I was like, and the whole, I never really thought about it, but as soon as he said that, I'm like, you don't know her. I got all defensive for this woman in history that I don't know, because I've never met a single woman in my life, that acts this way or acts that way with men, whether it's as a prostitute or just is promiscuous, or I've never met a single one that doesn't have some sort of trauma or scar or sexual trauma in their life. I don't think that God creates any woman that wants to live that life. I think that the world creates women that think that's the only life they have.
So my husband was a pastor in the inner city, and my friend Rhonda, not the Rhonda below me, we used to go out and talk to the prostitutes. We had a ministry that we ministered to them, and I never had one of them who didn't say that they'd been molested or used in some way as a child and felt unlovable and unworthy of love.
And so I know that. And when this pastor was telling the story, I just wanted to stand up and say, do you not see Jesus right now? Jesus did not go find the person that he loves her. Like he loves every single one of us because he knows her and he's telling her that he knows her in a shocking way, but then he's showing her that he knows her with love because he knows the real her. Just because we only get the words that he says doesn't mean, like, she ran off and told everybody he knows me. Right. And if he was just judging her and saying, I know what you've done, bad on you, would she have been like so excited to go share this news with everybody that shuns her? Like, this is not just, she went and told people that hated her and shunned her, and she wanted to share this good news with even the people that hated her, because this is the first time that someone really saw her. You know what I mean? And so that has just been like really on my heart since then. And I really wanted to speak to that pastor. I really honestly think I'm going to mail him a letter, a loving letter, that this is how I felt when he said that, but I want people to understand, like, I, like, somebody, it's gone already, but somebody had said that, like, the grandfather, that was shocking, but it was so true. Like, I do not have this trauma in my life. I am blessed that I don't. I have a lot of loved ones that have, but I do not. And so, like, when I write something like this, I feel kind of like not authentic because I didn't experience anything like this. So I really appreciate the positive feedback I'm getting. But I think a lot of people like me can be the worst judges because we didn't go through it. So we expect everybody to be able to, like, react to things like we do. Does that make sense?
That's really great that you would humble yourself to share that, because judgmental Christian, like, judgmental, that's the label that we're smacked with the most. And so I really appreciate you just being honest about that, because, I think we all judge. I think we all categorize. I think we all snap to assumptions about people. And I think it's really good to acknowledge that, so that you can allow yourself to be called out on it by others, and so that you could just be more loving. Because don't we just want to love people better? Like, aren't we just trying to love people better every day?
I absolutely agree. So I didn't mean to get on a soapbox.
That's all right.
That's
so,
really
well, if you have to get on a soapbox, that's the one.
Amen. Amen. All right, Rhonda. Last but never least, our favorite cheerleader, Rhonda Hagerman.
Okay. So you guys all know what this is, but nobody else is going to get it because in 230 words, I was not able to get the story done. But I will read what I have. All right. No job, no husband, no kids. Ultimate freedom, the thought flashes in my mind. I had no control over any of it, but here we are now. It doesn't feel like freedom, though. It feels like more of a confining cage than anything I'd ever experienced before. Now I have nothing to blame my choices on but myself. The phone begins clamoring for me, and I consider ignoring it. No one would blame me for hiding from the world right now. I let it ring 8 more times, then picked up the heavy celluloid receiver, gracing the caller with my attention. Hello? I didn't bother with fake perkiness, not here in my own kitchen. Ruth, is that you? You don't sound well, the disembodied voice said hesitantly. Yeah, I'm here. The perkiness returned instantly as I recognized the voice of my dispatcher. Energy flowed back into my core, coursing through my veins until even my fingertips felt alive again. We have an opening for you. I could hear the change in her voice, too. Everyone has been concerned about me, but Sally, my favorite dispatcher, considered me one of her own. That's wonderful. I'm ready. Where? When? Give me all the details. 15 minutes later, I was in my room, pulling my suitcase off the shelf and imagining all the new faces that would enter my life by the end of the week. Okay, that's all I have.
How is that only 230 words?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's only like this big on my screen.
Wow.
So anyway, to end the story, because I probably won't finish writing this, this is a story of Ruth and Naomi, and the dispatcher's not Naomi, but her church is Naomi. So she decides to give up whatever great adventure she was going to go on.
Nice.
So that she can stay with her church, which is more important to her than anything she realizes.
That's really awesome. Yeah, that's totally, it's funny because they don't know what happens before the podcast starts. And we were throwing around the idea. Somebody, Jamie, said, are we all doing the same story? And like I said, you now know what I wrote. I didn't know what I was going to write, but I knew that's what was on my heart, that God wanted me to write that story. And Tina kind of already knew what story she was going to do, even though we hadn't started writing. And Rhonda's like, no, let's all do the same one. And like, we all were like, we all agreed that we didn't want to do that. And then all of a sudden I realized what was going on. I said, Rhonda, do you want me to tell you what story to do? She's like, yes. So I did. I just threw that out there. And I would have.
Bye, Maria.
Bye, Maria. And as I was throwing it out to her, I thought, oh, I should do this one. And if I had Rhonda, it would have been totally different. I love what you did with it. So that whole story to say,
for
yeah,
sure.
really
Really
awesome.
good.
So
That's a fun thing. If anybody needs something, like pick one of the stories that we did. If you're stuck, like what to do about your sprint, like take a stab at the story I wrote.
Let me get
You're
this
so
like,
funny.
Yes, thank you guys.
So that's really great. All right, awesome. Again, everybody listening, or if you're still here live chatting, tweet us what you did for a sprint, or go do it as soon as the episode's over, because we really love to read those. Oh, shout out to Gigi. I think, is Gigi in chat today? Are you there, Gigi?
Today.
I think she's
I
there.
saw
in the
her.
beginning.
Oh, is she there? Yay.
I think you're
Maybe
here,
she's
Gigi.
just quiet.
If not, she'll probably watch this later. Gigi gave us a video this week. So here's a challenge to the rest of you. Gigi, sweet, dear Gigi, and we can say this now because we've seen her, we've heard her words. She, on the our post with last week's sprint prompt, she did a video that she posted of herself reading hers like we read ours. And there she is. Hi, Gigi.
Oh, I can listen to her voice all day.
I know.
Oh man, such a beautiful accent.
And it was so great. And I asked her if I could share it across platforms, and then I never got around to it because I have to capture it a special way. So I might still do that though, Gigi. So it's awesome. We would love for you guys to do that too if you feel like it. Put it on a video, like you could do a Facebook Live and then tag us in it. You could do on Twitter, you could do a little video. Why not?
Because they are writers and they are
I
afraid
know.
to be on camera. And I just want to say, if we could get Christina Cahn to do a podcast, any of y'all writers out there can do a live, like 2 seconds. I mean, figure, okay, you want to be a writer. You want people to read your words, which means people are going to want to know who you are someday, eventually. So why not break the ice with us? We are loving and supportive, and we're going to give you girls, and you're going to get positive feedback. You know you will. I don't know why you won't break the ice with us, because we're going to totally support you in whatever you do. So take advantage of some free pats on the back from us.
Yeah, and do a Facebook Live with it, because, like there's people out there doing really bad songs.
Okay, now you and I are going to have to fight this one out, but off camera maybe.
No,
I'm picking on my songs. Oh,
not you.
Oh.
No, there was this other video I watched of this old lady and this old man, and they did a remake of Staying Alive, and they were singing Staying at Home. It was a train wreck, but I couldn't stop watching it. It was so funny.
And one of the things we hear from emerging authors is, I don't want to do an author page yet. I don't know what to put on it. Here's what to put on it. At least once a week. At least put your sprint up. You could do a video. You could do a little video just saying, hi friends, I did another sprint this week, and I'm going to put it below. You don't have to read it if you don't want, but those little things, because readers these days especially, they want to know their writers. They don't want the fake name out there. You can have a pen name. I'm not judging that. I mean, like how you would have a pen name and 7 or 8 different authors right underneath that. People really want authentic authors, and they want to know those authors, especially in the Christian genre. So just try it. Plus, we love it. We love watching it. So kudos to Gigi. We appreciated that.
Yeah, and kudos to Sage for getting out there with the podcast. I mean, people are putting themselves out there. Also, I wonder if anybody took a stab at putting their writing out there because of last time's episode. That would also be fun to know. So there's another reason to reach out to us.
Sage, I love your podcast, by the way, just so you know.
Wonderful.
Yay. All right. Everyone all set? Well, it's time for us to move on to our final part of our podcast.
Sure, you're at your pad. Everybody's at their pad. We're all at our pads.
Where it's called our What's Next. So it's a time for us to share what we're going to be doing. I need to slow down. What we're going to be doing over the next week.
I wonder what Tina will say. I wonder what Tina has on her.
Well, let's do Tina first. Tina, what's your What's Next?
Oh, more of the same. Gonna stay home.
All right.
Gonna stay home and write and do my day job. I work from home anyway, online. So, I'm still working. So, just homeschooling my son, writing and working, and watching Netflix, because in case you didn't know, they're giving out a 30-day free trial right now.
Wow.
A lot of
Nice.
places are giving out free things.
News you can use.
I also saw that Kindle Unlimited was giving 60 free days instead of their
What?
30 free days.
Wow.
But when I tried to go find it, because I am a Kindle Unlimited person, I couldn't find it because it already shows that I'm already in. So you might want to search for that and see. But if nothing else, you can get 30 free days, and there's lots of free.
Yeah.
So Piper says that her what's next is she's been trying to use a beat sheet to plan her book. I'm all about planning. I don't know what you write, Piper. You need to share that with us so that helps us too. I think I'm becoming a plantster and realize I need to double my scenes in my first act.
Oh, wow. Well, that's good
Yep.
to know. What is the fix?
Mhm.
That's 90% of the battles, figuring out what's wrong.
Mhm.
Sage says my what's next, catching up on Christian Indie Writers. Props. Yay.
Nice.
Recording podcast episodes and just trying to survive the 21-day national
Yeah,
lockdown. We're
yeah.
on
Day
day
one?
one.
Oh,
Well, at least you have a lot of work to do with those prompts. You know, that'll keep you busy for a lot of time.
okay.
Oh.
Can we ask
52,
our
15
chatters
minutes
what
is.
the Snow White thing is?
Say again.
Can we ask our chatters what the Snow White thing is?
Yes,
There's a
give us.
snow-
Tell us. I think I know, but you guys tell us what the Snow White anthology thing is again. Sage says, "Oh, in case any of you are interested, my poetry book is on Kindle Unlimited now."
Yay!
That's
Good for
awesome.
you.
So how about everybody? If you don't have Kindle Unlimited, go sign up for a free 30 days and read Sage's stuff. That would be awesome. I'm going to put my contemporary stuff on Kindle Unlimited. I don't have it right now, but I think I'm going to give that a try. Piper
Nice.
says she writes YA urban fantasy. Interesting.
Mm.
Shell says her what's next is working on a Snow White story.
Mhm,
So lots of
mhm.
Snow White stuff going on. If you need me to model for you, apparently, according to Rhonda.
Seriously, she has this one lipstick, and her is
Yeah.
so milky complexion. You just
Yeah.
need one of those headband ribbon things.
Oh yeah.
The last time I wore it was just honestly for Rhonda. Whenever I put it on, I'm like, oh, Rhonda will comment on it, and I put it on before the podcast. And it's a stain. I use lip stains. Not even thinking that as soon as the podcast was done, I had to bolt and go to the school for a Valentine's party, and here I come walking. So everything looks kind of muted here, but in the daylight, that red is red. And I went walking in the school with this bright red lip, but no one seemed to notice. Maybe they think I always wear red lipstick, but for me, it felt weird. But
Yeah, you have to put on a lot of makeup to even look like you have any on when you're on camera. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
Oh,
Zipper,
Robin. I didn't know Robin is the publisher of the Snow White deal. I didn't understand that. So Bellwood Publishing, also known as Robin, is accepting submissions for a fairy tale anthology based on Snow White. Deadline May 15th. Ooh, fun.
Oh.
Do you need a gumshoe detective in her world?
I know she's already heard our Snow White stories. Can we just get like a thumbs up or a thumbs down? No, just kidding. Anyway,
Robin, if you will tweet that out and tag us in it, we can retweet it for you as well, because there might be a lot of people that would be interested in finding like the information on that. So like where the submissions are.
What do you need her to do? Send it to Twitter? What did you say?
Yeah, tweet us the link that we need to go to submit. That will help us.
Got it.
Okay. All right. So who's gone already? I've already lost track.
I don't know. I think just you.
I think only Maria. Oh,
Only
I didn't go
Tina.
yet.
Only Tina.
Only Tina.
What about you, Jennifer? What's going on with you? What's next?
What's next? I am in another promo because, and at first I thought, oh, I'm going to kill my readers with all these promos. However, because everyone is housebound, people are reading like crazy. And so I'm in another free one. This one is actually for samples, but I put my full book in there. There's a few of us authors that put full books in there. So, but the samples are nice because there are authors that are putting samples of their books that you can't get for free, that you can try them out before you buy them.
Good job.
If you're looking for a new read, maybe a new Christian author you might want to follow or might want to read some of their stuff, go to it didn't post on Instagram. I'm going to go to Instagram right now. And when we're done with this, and I'll make sure it gets posted. Also, you can go to my website and sign up for my newsletter and get I'm always finding free deals for people of Christian books to read, because I know that a lot of us aren't all of us are not on Kindle Unlimited. So if you're looking for some free reads, sign up on my newsletter. So oh, I see. I'm sorry. I lost train of thought. I'll get back to that. So I've got that coming up. There is another promo that I'm part of that will happen partway through the month that is I'm very excited about. It's a lot of different Christian authors, some pretty big names in there too. So that's coming up later. So I'll be working on that promo, making sure and put that out there a lot. I'm still working on Phoebe. I got some really good stuff in early mornings this week, and I am working on this house. Picking out flooring. Wait, I'm going the wrong way. Picking out flooring. You guys like it? Think it'll work?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, that's the plan. That's what I'm up to. So what about you, Jamie? What's up with you?
Well, after my nap, after contemplating everything that you said you're going to do, I will get busy not doing a whole lot of any of that. You're so busy. You're so busy. You do so much. I just am so impressed by you. I am trying to, however, try to be a little more busy. I'm working on a little nonfiction project, and my husband and I were talking, and he's decided to give me the weekend to see if I can just finish, because it's sort of been just on my plate for too long, and it's not a very long project. I just have to commit the time to it, and he has no idea how long he'll be home. And so I said, well, I think I can finish it in a weekend if you just let me just work whenever I want to work all weekend. So this is the agreement. So he'll be on dad duty and I'll be working hard. And so hopefully I'll have some news for everybody to what this little nonfiction project is all about.
So shout out to Mr. Hirschberger.
I know, he's so great. You want to know what's funny is Rhonda still has never met my husband. She's not even so much as like seen him on camera or anything.
Really?
So I was telling my husband that we were kind of having a good laugh about it, about how she needs to come down here and see him, and then how he would like hide from her, like run out the one door as she was coming in the other door.
And your dog would always appear in his place.
Yeah, and then like he would move stuff like the cereal, and she would be like, "Wait a minute, this was just here," or whatever. And then he said, "What you need to do is take a picture of our garden." And then say, Rhonda, you taught me everything I know. Because that thing is like so overgrown, like a jungle. I'd be like, Rhonda, thanks for all the gardening tips. And you'd be like, ah! And then you'd be like, I must come down to see Jamie to help her because her garden is so bad.
That would work.
It's really,
hilarious.
you would clutch your pearls. It's so bad. But I do have a couple of sacks of potatoes and onions out there to impress you. So woo me.
Okay.
All right.
Before we move on to Rhonda, can I just piggyback on what you said too? Because honestly, shout out to Mr. Hirschberger, but I did not do a shout out for my husband, and I need to. You said that all these things I'm doing and I'm so busy. My husband as well is on a forced layoff, and we are getting so much done. My dear husband, like we had this huge list, and he is just like boom, 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 boom. So I'm getting a lot done, but really it would not be going as fast without my husband, who was just willing to like, this should be vacation for him, right? Nope. He wishes he'd go back to work, I think, because there's so much more to do here. So
that's what you call a honey done
working,
list.
Yeah.
My husband's working his little tail off.
Yeah.
He's a person who shops for other people.
Yeah.
And delivers their groceries. And he has been no time for a break, no time to breathe. He comes home and he just collapses. He's just
we need to be praying for him.
But you know, he says I keep the same cart all day. Like he doesn't get a new cart every time.
Wow.
He keeps the same cart.
How is he able to keep the same cart even though
he puts it in? I don't know. He has like a little.
He puts a sign on it that says, "Person who just used this is tested positive," and then nobody touches it, and they give it 6 feet all around.
All the people that work there are his buddies, so I'm sure like the security guard is guarding it. Or
yeah, they're
something.
probably watching out for each other.
Like
Yeah.
he did tell me that last night that people
are really coming together.
He's not like using all these different cards. So,
all right, Rhonda, what is your what's up? I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's fine. Let's see. My what's up is
or what's next? Sorry.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay, so what's next for me is we have, I don't know, 2 more weeks that we need to stay at home. So I am really enjoying this. I'm catching up on my scrapbooks.
Ooh.
So I know that I should be writing, but I've decided the book, Jamie, this is for you. The suggestions you have, those are going to wait until Camp Nano, April 1st. And I would like to get that book almost completely done.
Love that book.
By the end of
Nano.
Great. Yeah. My museum projects, since I can't go to the museum anyway, I'm just completely putting those on hold until the museum opens again. So, yeah, I am just relaxing and enjoying Corona for what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
Button
right.
down the hatches or batten them down or whatever we're supposed to do.
I was just pulling up the calendar while you were talking and realizing that Camp Nano will start before our next episode. So those of you that are doing Camp Nano, kudos for you. I want to be there, but it's probably going to still be.
I don't know what is going on. I know. And then also, are we Like, is there a cabin? Like, we haven't talked about any of that stuff.
They
And
asked
maybe
us-
we need to do a live or something. Just pop in before Camp Nano starts,
That's a
just to
great
tell
idea.
everybody what we decide. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so go and like our Facebook page. We will do a Facebook Live before Camp Nano. You guys can join us and tell us what you'd like us to do. If one of you is willing, like we can do a Christian indie writers cabin,
But we'll
the
be
4
bad
of
at
us,
it.
we're bad at it. So I do remember seeing Sage say that she used to be a social media person.
I saw that
But
too.
anybody, if any of you are interested in doing that and would be willing to spearhead it, and we would just kind of go along for the ride because we love
Please.
you.
Yeah.
Let us know, because we would love to do that. We just really we are bad at it. We have the heart to do it, but we are super bad at it.
We're bad.
But yeah, let's do a Facebook Live early next week, and we'll see how that goes. I also have not forgotten that I said I was going to start doing Facebook Lives for newsletters, and I know that some of you cannot do it if I do in the evening, but I really think that's what works best for me. You can always watch it later and comment, and I'll still get those comments. But I do also think that there's a whole host of Christian indie writers out there that can't be here in the morning that might really want to connect with us at night. So praying about that.
I think everybody understands, Jennifer. I mean, if they just listen to your to-do list and everything that you have going on, if you have to do it in the evening, I mean, that you have to do it in the evening, and that's sad. But I mean, like, you can't be expected to sort of, uproot your whole life to accommodate. Your family has to come first.
Right.
Whatever.
Agreed. But I also like our channel.
I know.
So
It's so cute.
maybe we'll get a whole new host of people that will love you.
They love you and they understand, is I guess what I'm
Right.
saying.
So,
And
All
if
right.
you like our Facebook page, go under the following button and hit see first. And then you'll make sure that shows up on your wall, on your feed.
That is great to know. All right, ladies, anything else?
What about Tina? Didn't say her what's next, I don't think. Oh, yes, she did.
Yeah,
Did
more
anybody
of the
else
same.
not say it? I don't know why it feels unfinished. All
Because
right.
we don't want to be over.
Then
This
I'll
has been
shut
a
up.
very long episode, but it's been a very full episode. So all hearts clear?
Because we miss social interaction.
We really, really do. All right. Thank you, ladies, so much. And all of you that tune in for this every week. I'm pulling up making sure we didn't miss anything. All right. So until next time, may your pen be prolific. May your deadlines be met. And may all of your words honor Christ. Bye now.